Hey everybody, Royce from Hill Country CNC and Woodworking, and I'm just taking a real quick moment to talk about edge banding. I've been seeing a lot of edge banding videos on TikTok actually that are great. They're wonderful, but they talk about really like the industry standard of how to do it. They use these machines, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and I think it takes a lot of people and it makes them to where they're like, I can't do that. I can't afford that machine to be able to start edge banding. The other reason I'm doing this is because in a couple hours, I am doing a Eagle Scout project with a bunch of scouts, and they're going to be doing a bunch of edge banding for some equipment that we designed and made for the hospital, the BAMC. Here in San Antonio. So I thought I'd walk you through it real quick and show you how simple doing it without the machinery can really be. So this is just a piece of plywood, right? And then I have these two blocks, and they have grooves cut in them. And all that is for is holding. And if you notice, there's three different depths here. Those depths are for the different sizes of plywood that you can get. So if you get, you know, two-side UV ply, it's going to be one depth. If you get one-side UV ply, different depth. If you get premium Baltic birch, it's going to be a different size, right? This way. So this solves all that problem. You have three different sizes. It's going to fit in one of them. You want to get one that's kind of snug, but it doesn't have to be super tight. As a matter of fact, you don't want it super tight because then it might mar your finish. So that's that. So this is edge banding. I buy mine from Dakota Hardwoods here in San Antonio. And you can buy edge banding from, I don't know how to cut this, well, geez, I messed up. I'm gonna have to cut this part out. You can buy edge banding in two different types, right? So there's machine on edge banding, and then there's iron on edge banding, right? So this is iron on edge banding. Comes in a roll, obviously. And then I have the iron. Have the router jig, and I have Pro Carpenter end nip trimmers, which they basically kind of look like wire trimmers, or to me, I see them and I'm like, those are for trimming horses' hooves, right? A little small for that, but so I go ahead and get a sufficient length of material. Right? Y'all got to give me a little bit of a break. I'm filming and doing this all at the same time, so that's kind of hard. Oh, and I left one little thing out. Before you do any of that, make sure you come over, and it's sand, just real simple. Get all those little hairs, the little feathers out. If you have two-side UV ply, you probably don't have to worry about too much of that. But this is one-side UV ply. I didn't really show you the other side. And you just want to knock off any of those feathers, and then make sure you have a smooth surface, because if you don't have a smooth surface, it's not really going to work. Then you align it. You're going to have a little bit on both sides, right? Make sure it's far enough down here. Make sure it's far enough down here. Hold it in place. And just throw the iron on it for a second. Make sure the iron's on. So you make sure the iron's on, and then line it up, line it up, just let it sit there for a second. All you're doing is really attaching one side. And you'll feel stuck on there, right? And then you come to the other side, take all the slack out, make sure it's lined up. You know, you have a little bit on both sides. And it'll stick. And then you just work your way back and forth. If you have a little extra, it'll smooth itself out. Now as this gets hot, it's going to want to move a little bit. So you just have to keep your fingers kind of on both sides, making sure that there's some on both sides. Hit the end on both sides really good. That's where any, you know, tearing away is going to be. So that's that. It's on there. We're good to go. That was the hard part, right? So the next step, I'm so impressed that it says it on there. Pro Carpenter in-nib trimmers. I thought they were clippers. And I'm just going to come in here. I probably need to let it cool just a little bit more. So it's only got a mouth so wide right there, so you're going to have to cut off a little excess. Flush it. You want that bottom edge flush with the board. Okay. Looks pretty spectacular, right? Far better than this. But if you look close, you can see what I'm talking about with that little lip. And all that is, and I'm going to go back to the tight one here, is trimming it off. There's a lot of ways to do this. Actually, if you find your way to my website, there's a little push thing that's on my website on the for sale area. I'm not really promoting it, but it's easy, right? You put it on there, you push, and it cuts both sides of it. This is what we use. Well, we don't iron on very often anymore, but when we do, this router is how we do this. And then a lot of people just take a really sharp razor blade, run it along this edge right here, and cut it off. It's pretty. So I have the board, and it's got the lips on both sides, and I just take the jig, and hopefully you can kind of see that. It's just a board with a dado and then another piece that puts it at the right level, and then it's got a bit, just a spiral, I think it's down cut. let's say it never fails, right? You're doing something on camera and it just doesn't work very well. So I've never had that have a problem like that. It's kind of funny to me that it happened now. I've never filmed this process before, so now it has issues. But the answer is just to come in and clean up. And I think what I actually see here is that maybe I didn't glue on this one edge quite enough. But you come in with a nice sharp edge. I like chisels. And it's good. This side, so this is like little glue that just squeezed out. You can just remove that like that, and there you go. I mean, it's what you get from the big manufacturers, right? And this one side is just irritating me. It's not perfect. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the big machine or big machines, so you can see what that process looks like. This, so maybe $100 and at max $150 in the router, maybe a $40 bit, $40 iron, $40 snippers, and well, we're not going to talk about the chisel because it's a Lee Nelson and that's not $40. But so you can get this process done and edge band all the cabinets in your entire house for under $300 and whatever, $20. I'm not a math dude. Pretty cool process for something that inexpensive. Okay, so now this system is the industrial standard. This is a very, very common machine. It uses non-iron-on because it puts its own glue on there and recycles what it doesn't use, right? So this is a non-adhesive based, it is placed by the machine, okay? So this one, you do that first step with smoothing everything to make sure you have a good edge. And this is where it gets so much easier. I just made a mess, but right? So it's perfect. And it took seconds. Now, the flip side of this is this machine is expensive, right? The industry really kind of messed up when they made this. Well, they didn't mess up. They're messing over cabinet makers because this thing is pretty expensive when it's actually really simple. But for somebody that's just getting into the process, this thing's hard to get. You have to almost buy them used. You have to find them, you know, on Marketplace or whatever. It's a barrier to entry for cabinet shops. And then if you buy it new, holy cow, you're gonna pay a lot of money for something that's this simple. So, bad lighting over here. We're gonna go again, and just snip off the end. If I can't fully get to the edge, I snip off material. So you get nice edges on the ends. And again, there's a little glue that needs to be cleaned off. Isopropyl alcohol gets that off really easy on UV. Perfect, and it took seconds. So you understand why this is better. So I say it's better, but you understand, like, the cost analysis on this is like crazy. You cannot be an entry cabinet shop with all the tools that you need and go out and grab that thing. So consider iron-on, man. It's a good idea.